Flex right stack, 394 Dragon Smoke, kill, turbo, sucker right. Green Edison!
Hello world, it's Grant. Welcome back to G-Fam. Glad to have you guys with us today. I want to talk to you about a topic that most of us wouldn't normally think about when we're out traveling around. I'm talking about those unwanted hitchhikers. That's right, mice or rats, however you'd like to call them. But nevertheless, it's an unwanted visitor in your home, and we got to figure out a way to do something about it. So I got a few ideas and tips that I'd like to share with you guys to figure out how to narrow down how they're getting into your house, and then how to get them out of your house, and then how to prevent them from coming back in. So let's get into it. First, I'd like to say normally how you're going to end up finding this intruder is through an accident per se. Like you'll stumble across either them getting into your food, or you'll accidentally find them running across your house at one point. But nevertheless, you got to figure out what drew them to your house in the first place. Now, typically, sometimes you would imagine when you're at an RV park, you're hooking up water, you're hooking up sewer and electricity and things like that. I would imagine that water is what initially draws a creature like that to your house. And then one thing leads to another, and they smell food, and then they figure out how to get in there. So after you've figured out what has drawn the pest to your house, obviously you need to clean up that area and figure out a different way to store it. And then you need to bait an area so that way you could capture the mouse or the rat. Now, you could go about that in any way that you'd like. If you're an animal lover and you want to trap it but not kill it, that's perfectly fine. If you would like to take other resources, that's perfectly opinion based. But nevertheless, you want to be able to capture the animal and then get it out of your house, so that way you can then move on to protecting your house from this happening again. So after you've set your trap, then you want to wait a little while. I've come to find that typically this works when we are out of the house, gone for the day, or it most likely will happen in the middle of the night when everything is nice and quiet. That makes the animal feel safe and ready to come out and explore like he did the first time. So now that we've taken care of the creature, we need to figure out how to seal up the undercarriage of our house, so that way we can prevent this from happening again. Which leads me to the topic of how they get into your house. I would imagine that for the most part, they had to have gotten into my house from the undercarriage. And so typically most trailers have a casing or a sheet of protection under the carriage of the trailer. And with that is to protect like your plumbing or your propane lines and your electricity, things like that. And is to keep those things protected from the outdoor elements of like rocks and any debris on the road, and to kind of protect them from the elements as far as the weather, like heat or cold. But sometimes that area gets compromised, and so we have to figure out where exactly under the trailer that area is compromised, and then isolate that area to be able to figure out how to repair it. And there's several different ways that you can go about repairing it. Use your imagination. Some people would like to use grate foam if you would like to bolt it right back to the chassis. I have a very thick chassis, so I found it very hard to drill through that to screw it back on. I used Loctite, which is a silicone adhesive. You can buy it at your hardware store, or go down to the corner or Walmart or whatever, and you can get that in the hardware area. Okay, so as you can see right here, at some point I had to get some work done on the undercarriage of my trailer, and I wasn't able to, like I said, bolt the protective casing back to the chassis. I tried some self-tapping screws, but they weren't strong enough. So I found these large paper clips in the office to help crimp them together in the meantime. I will also be using them to help crimp them together after I apply the adhesive. Alright, and now that your house is protected from these unwanted guests in the future, what I would recommend is every once in a while kind of just inspecting those areas again to make sure that they don't get compromised again and allowing the situation to happen again. Now, I'm not saying that this could never happen again once you've taken care of the situation, but let's just try to cross our T's and dot our I's per se, so that way we don't have to experience this unless something else changes. But nevertheless, I hope that this video gave you a little bit of insight onto a topic that we wouldn't normally think about, and hopefully that it gave you some quick tips to help you solve the problem and to be able to move forward from there and enjoy the rest of your journeys. Well, if you guys enjoyed this video, give it a big thumbs up. Please be sure to subscribe down below. And until next time, guys, safe travels.